Hi, Abby. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's lovely to meet you finally.
Hi, Polly. Yeah, nice to meet you too.
We'll crack straight on with it then. My first question for you is, well, first of all, can you tell us a little bit about what you do for your job, and then kind of explain what inspired you to go into that career, and how you sort of got started?
Yeah, of course. So my kind of day to day is I'm technically front end focused software engineer, um, but I do back end JavaScript in part of my role. So not back end languages, but all JavaScript based.
And
Yeah.
you're a software engineer at GiftGaff, is that right? You still at GiftGaff?
Yes.
Nice. Okay, cool. And how did you sort of get into that, or what were you doing before, or what led you to doing that now?
So before that, I was a driving instructor, um, and then COVID hit, and it all came out saying, "Oh, you should work from home."
Yeah,
There's not really a way you can teach people how to drive from home.
yeah. I can imagine
Um,
it's very hard.
yeah, and I'm not the kind of person that can just sit at home and do nothing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I've always kind of wanted to code. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at cybersecurity. Did a few taster courses, and then was like, yeah, code's great. Let's go for code.
That sounds like a pretty easy choice then, if you just like kind of got straight into it and then enjoyed it. That was nice.
Yeah, worked out pretty well.
Yeah. And you obviously studied with us. You're one of our ex-students. How did your studies with us kind of help you transition into the industry?
Honestly, it was so good. So the way that you're encouraged to work on the course is so similar to the way that I work in my day to day.
Oh, good.
So, like, we have the Slack channels where you can ask anyone. We use Slack at work. It's fantastic. Um, all the GitHub processes, it was all pretty much copied across. The only thing I had to think about extra was linking it to work tickets.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, other than that, I did quite a lot of hackathons in my
Mhm.
time on the course,
No.
which was amazing for getting used to working in a team, listening to people's ideas, and kind of doing the constructive feedback kind of stuff.
Mhm.
That was
And
all
did,
really good.
and did you find that it was a little bit easier to sort of be taken seriously or against competition when you were interviewing for jobs because you were certified?
Yeah, I think partially being certified and then also partially it being a boot camp.
Yes.
So a lot of the places I was applying, they had university graduates applying, and they know what you get with a university degree.
Yeah.
But then when I came in saying, "Oh, I've done this year-long boot camp," and they're going, "What? What's that? That's really cool. Like,
Yeah.
it's all practical, right?"
Yeah, that was really cool. And I guess like if you've like taken on that training on your own and not just like gone straight into uni when you're 18, then it kind of shows that you're a bit more like actually genuinely interested and like wanting to do something for yourself and sort of like determined. Because I feel like a lot of us just go to uni when we're 18 and we're like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to do what I'm best at. And it doesn't really feel like an autonomous decision at the time because you're so young. Um, so I feel like getting those certifications a bit later in life probably just back you up a little bit more. That makes sense.
Yeah, it shows you're more dedicated to your career
Yeah.
as opposed to you've gone to university straight after secondary school.
Yeah.
That's just kind of where you've gone.
Yeah, exactly. So can you tell us about any sort of challenges you had when you started out in the field or and specifically anything related to like being a woman in a male dominated field, if you feel like that was much of a thing or, yeah, go ahead.
So I will be completely open here. I was so lucky with GIFGAF.
Good.
GIFGAF has such strong pillars of diversity and inclusion. So at no point since I've been at GIFGAF has being a woman been any kind of hindrance or any push. Like, it just doesn't matter within my role what my gender is. Interviewing, however, was a different matter. So at the time that I got my job offer to giffgaff, I was also offered 2 other roles within the same kind of week-ish.
Wow.
The first place that offered said, you'd be working in a team of 8 men. We need some lady energy.
No, we don't love that.
No. And I kind of went, oh, great, thanks.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Like,
Yeah.
instantly felt like they don't really want me. They just need a woman. Doesn't matter who.
It kind of feels like that token, like diversity,
Yeah.
hitting a quota type thing sometimes, doesn't it? So
Yeah. And then the other place weren't quite as obvious about it, but there were hints of, you know, we are very male dominated. This is a man's workplace.
Mm.
And it was just like, I don't really want to be considered as being a woman.
Yeah.
Whereas with giffgaff, nobody mentioned my gender. It wasn't a consideration. It wasn't a topic discussion.
Yeah.
I was just me.
That's exactly what you want, isn't it? Like, you just don't want that to even be taken into consideration.
Yeah.
I think my next question was kind of, what advice would you give to women considering a career in your industry? But going off that, I think probably my question would be more like, how would you advise women to kind of like suss out which companies are going to make them feel comfortable in their gender if it's a male-dominated environment? Because you've obviously done a pretty good job at sussing that out.
The big recommendation, I would say, is just ask what their gender split is.
Uh-huh.
And regardless of what the split is, because yes, tech is still very male-dominated, if their response is 80% men, 20% women, but, you know, we're hiring for the best talent rather than gender, I'd say that's a pretty good answer.
Yeah.
Whereas if they say, oh, it's 50-50, we really focus on making sure that we hire the best women, and then it's like, okay, so you're specifically hiring women in this scenario, not the best engineers you can get.
Yeah, that's a nice little tip, actually. It's just like, I guess it doesn't really matter too much what the kind of gender split is in the company that you're going into, as long as they've got the right attitude and they're not just like hiring you because they need to get up to a certain amount of women.
Yeah, so the team I'm working in at giffgaff at the moment, there's 2 women, and I think there's about 20 of us in the team.
Right.
So it's quite a low percentage.
Mm-hmm.
It's not representative across the business. We are pretty close to 50%, I believe, at the moment.
Nice.
But because you're in that kind of environment where nobody really looks at gender, it doesn't make a difference. I don't feel like I'm one of the 2 women on the team.
Yeah.
I'm on the team.
Yeah, that's great. That's exactly how you want it to be, isn't it? That's nice. And in terms of like your experience as a woman, have you had any female role models or mentors that have inspired you along the way, or have you just kind of like come to this completely on your own?
Yeah, honestly, my biggest role model is a friend that I had before all of this. We were in a band together.
Oh, nice.
And she'd been encouraging me to try coding for years.
Oh, wow.
And then tried it over COVID. She got me an internship at giffgaff, so she was working there already. And she'll probably hate me saying this, she's so humble. But she is one of the strongest, most powerful women I have ever met. And,
that's so
like,
nice.
she's so caring. She genuinely cares about every person she meets.
Yeah.
And she's an incredible coder as well.
Oh, amazing. That's exactly what you need. Just like someone to kind of like push you a little bit sometimes and encourage you to do things they know you'll enjoy. And I'm sure she probably knew you pretty well if you were in a band together. What kind of music did you play?
Ska punk.
Oh, no, that's well beyond my comfort zone. I've never even heard of that, actually. Do you still do that?
Not recently. We stopped about a year ago or so, but still friends.
Oh, nice. That's really lovely. I'm sure she would actually love to hear that. So
every time I mention her in something, she's like, why did you do that?
Oh, God, yeah. Some people just don't want to like accept that they actually are just like amazing people.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Moving on to like more of the techie aspects of your job, what does your role as an engineer actually involve?
So I work mainly in JavaScript based things. So Node.js, Next.js, React, TypeScript are kind of my day to days. Personally, I do a lot of accessibility work. XCon t-shirt, rep the
Oh, yeah.
brand. Uh, so yeah, a lot of my day to day is building components, checking that they're accessible, talking to the designers, making sure that what they're designing will work in code, and
Yeah,
then building it out for them.
nice. And do you find that like a rewarding kind of thing to be involved in? Do you enjoy it? And like, do you feel like you're getting a lot of satisfaction from doing something that you kind of push to get to?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the really big rewarding things about tech is that it's so different day to day. So today, before this call, I was writing an example of bad accessibility of all the things
Yeah.
to then use in a webinar presentation. Yesterday, I was coding pages sent from Apple.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah,
Completely
great.
different.
Yeah, that's a nice eclectic mix. That's actually really like, I always think like, because my job, I feel like I'm doing something quite different day to day as well. And it's so nice, that kind of thing for people that need to like just keep really active and like don't want to kind of stay still and get bored. I think that's really important in a job. And what kind of, so obviously you were a driving instructor before, and then you came and learned with us, and now you're at GIFGAF, which is amazing. What are some practical steps you would advise someone to take to break into the field without prior experience?
Honestly, I'd say you don't need prior experience. The big things for me was very much getting the LinkedIn profile up to date, showcasing what you do. And don't be afraid to show like your specialties, the things
Yeah.
that you're excited about. So because I'm quite excited about accessibility, I talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
I write blog articles about it. I do webinars about it. And
Nice.
because of that, when I go to an interview, people go, oh, I see you're into accessibility. We're not so good on that here, or we've got a real push for that here. And
Yeah.
it starts the conversation rolling as you being a person with a specialty in tech, as
Yeah.
opposed to, hi, I'm new, I've never done anything.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's cool. That's actually it's nice that you've got like a passionate sort of like niche in that field. And obviously if you want to send us any of your blog articles, please do, and we'll share them because I'm really interested to read that anyway. So
Cool.
and as someone that's kind of like gone through like a career change from the very beginning, studied with us, got your certs and like got into a role, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give yourself at the start of your journey?
Don't listen to the imposter syndrome.
Nice. I like that.
Oh,
I feel like all of us can kind of hear that. I'm well on board with that.
yeah, that one is absolutely brutal. And you never believe that everybody gets imposter syndrome. And like, I was talking to my boss the other day, who's been doing this for 15 years, and
Yeah.
he was like, I still get imposter syndrome. I
Yeah.
still don't feel good enough for this role. It's like, if he feels like that,
Yeah.
everybody's fine. Like, we got this.
No, it's crazy, isn't it? You can just like have so much self-doubt for no reason.
Yeah.
It's such a weird concept, isn't it? I actually wrote a blog post about this a little while ago. And obviously like it's kind of like minority groups are a bit disproportionately affected by it, but it does literally affect everyone, no matter like your level of experience or your social or personal circumstances. It's just like such a thing, and it seems to just like come out of nowhere. So I love that. That's really good advice. Thank you. And finally, how important do you think it is to continuously learn in your field, and how do you personally stay up to date with new trends and technologies?
So incredibly important, especially if you're doing JavaScript things. There's such a big joke about there's a new framework every week. But there kind of is. So yeah, always got to keep on top of things, even if it's just little bits and pieces. So personally, I follow quite a few tech people on Twitter. X? Is that what it's called now?
Yeah.
And on Blue Sky as well. There's quite a few really good tech posts on there. Other than that, it's conferences. I love a good 3-day conference.
Yeah, it's also just a nice opportunity to like get away and do something new.
Yeah. Most recent one is AxeCon, which I've mentioned before. I'm literally wearing the t-shirt from a couple of years ago.
Oh, nice.
But it's like 3 days worth of just getting to sit down and listen to people who are really passionate about something tell you about the new stuff.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah, that's really good. And it's also a really good way to like meet people in your industry and sort of share ideas and stuff like that. So, okay, cool. Well, I think that's the end of my questions, Abby. So unless there's anything else, thank you so much for joining us. And it was so nice to meet you.
No worries at all. Thank you.